Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with the attack line for Monday, August the 13th, 2012. I haven't made an attack line in a couple of days. My birthday was last Thursday. I bought some things. I got my YOLO shirt, which I wore on my wall review last week. That was my last video until today. I was shopping all week last week, and even on my birthday, I went out to a bar or two, had some drinks. Well, alcoholic. I don't drink alcoholic drinks. Even though I'm 24, I don't drink alcoholic drinks. Just mostly soft drinks. So, shopped, got some DVDs, touched my own DVD, got some coffee table books that I like. Not a bug, some other things. I got them today in the mail, one of them on the internet. And also this past weekend, I celebrate my birthday by shopping. I had some gigs. I had one gig this past Saturday, which was my gig at Bayside Yacht Club, or my two yacht clubs. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I DJ'd, and 2 weeks ago, I DJ'd for Huron Point Yacht Club, my other yacht club. I DJ'd 2 days ago for my first yacht club I ever DJ'd for, Bayside Yacht Club, for their annual fleet review, which I've done for the last 4 years. Basically, this is a sorry. This has been a tale of two parties. The first party, mostly the first 2 hours or so, was mostly kids' party, and a lot of young kids there dancing to the young people music. Call Me Maybe, or the line dances were good. And then for the last couple hours was party number two, mostly the adult party, full of some disco, some pop, adult pop, and mostly rock. You like the old rock and roll music. So that's mostly what it was, two parties. A pop party and a rock party all rolled up into one. Another great party. These Yaakov people are great drinkers. They love the drinking party. It's another one of those parties on the Think Bayside for another great party this past Saturday. I'm off for 2 weeks till the 25th, my boss show. But the day before my gig, for here on Bayside, I went to a concert this past Friday to Kelly Clarkson. Well, she was with the Fray, but I didn't see the Fray. I left after Kelly. I don't care for the Fray. So I saw Caroline Lyle, the opening act, did like one song that it was like, oh, I didn't really do that song. It was like, show me what I'm looking for. It was one of those songs. It was like one of those songs you probably heard on the radio a few times. You don't know who sings it, and then you're like, oh, they do this song. It was like that with me and Caroline Lyle. But Kelly Clarkson, see her. I was supposed to see her exactly 5 years ago on a My December tour. It was supposed to be August 10th, 2007. She canceled because of bad ticket sales. In 5 years, exactly to the day, August 10th, 2012, I get to finally see Kelly Clarkson with my cousin, Melissa. And she was great. I loved Kelly. Being a American Idol fan, well, until this season, good way to end my American Idol journey. I've stopped watching it this past season. And one way to end my American Idol journey than to see the original American Idol, Kelly Clarkson. She was great. She had all the good songs, besides Walk Away, that was the only quip. She had all the singles from Stronger, Dark Side, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger, of course, Dark Side, the new single. She did mostly them, and of course, a lot of songs from the Breakaway album. She did, of course, the title track of Breakaway, My Name's Hazel Eyes, Because of You. Basically, every single, besides the aforementioned Walk Away. She only did one song from the first album she recorded, Thankful, which was Miss Independent in a mashup with Mr. Know-It-All. But what's more publicized is, of course, her cover of Eminem's Lose Yourself. She did that cover as well as a permanent cover of Fun's We Are Young. But I liked the Eminem Lose Yourself. It was kind of funny but awkward. That's what Kelly was. She was awkward, bubbly. She had a nice stage presence. She didn't put a mirage on herself. Oh, I'm a big superstar diva. She's humble, and I like her banter was mostly tongue in cheek. It's kind of funny, but definitely good show to see Kelly. Didn't see the Fray like I mentioned, but just saw Kelly. Good concert this past Friday. Because the Evanescence in a couple of weeks. Actually, 11 days from now. Obviously, Evanescence was my friend Jessica. Now, on the entertainment news, starting with your number one movie, After 3 weeks, The Dark Knight finally got taken down by another sequel. The Bourne Legacy. They're still making those goddamn movies. I saw the first 3 movies. The third one made me fall asleep, so that's why I didn't see this one. And mostly because Matt Damon's not in it. Anyway, the movie made okay, 38 million its opening weekend, while the campaign, the movie starring Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis, did well for a rated R movie, 26 million. Sorry, some stuff up today. Anyway, but Big Bomb was Nitro Circus in 3D, only making $1 million in 3 days. Well, mostly because there were only 800 theaters, so you can't blame them on that. So there you go. New number one movie, The Bourne Legacy. Now, since I didn't make an Atakline last week, after Monday, I'll be telling you what happened with the Billboard number ones from last week with your new number one album. Zach Brown got kicked off by Ricky Ross with his album God Forgives and I Don't, making it was his 3rd or 4th consecutive number one. And yes, making it 9 weeks, making it the number one, longest reigning number one single of 2012. Call Me Maybe, Carly Rae Jepsen remains for a 9th week. Like I said, making it the longest lasting number one of 2012, breaking the tie she had after the 8th week with Go TN. So there you go, Carly Rae Jepsen. 9 weeks of number one. Now, Kenny Chesney was number one single last week with Come Over for the 2nd week in a row, breaking the streak of 1 week wonders. Well, since the country number ones are revealed on Mondays for this upcoming week, so Kenny was last week's number one. This week's number one for country is Love and Theft with Angel Eyes. We're hearing it a lot on the radio. Now, I like the song, kind of catchy. So there you go. Angel Eyes, your new number one country single for this week, kicking up last week's number one, Kenny, and last week's number one being Rick Ross, Carly Rae Jepsen. We'll find out this week's results this Wednesday. Now, last week there was a lot of things that happened, but not just last week, but last night. Last night was the closing ceremonies of the 2012 Olympics in London. I don't watch the Mini Olympics. I don't watch the Olympics that much. I did remember one Olympic moment. I watched the Carrie Strug gymnastics at 96 Olympics in Atlanta. I remember watching it on TV that night, watching her land with that bad knee. That was my favorite Olympic moment. But a lot of big Olympic things happened. U.S. won a lot of medals. Britain did too. Opening ceremonies was a few weeks ago, kicking off with Paul McCartney. And last night was the closing ceremonies, highlighted by British groups including Madness, Pet Shop Boys, Annie Lennox, One Direction, Jessie J, Tiny Tempa, VDI, Tail Cruz. But of course, the most anticipated moment of the British closing ceremonies was the Spice Girls reunion. All 5 reunited. It was like the worst kept secret. Like, I'm not kidding. I've been hearing about, like, ever since the Olympics were announced to be in London, like in 2008 or 9, there's been rumors about Spice Girls doing the Olympics for like years. Like, all Spice Girls are going to get together for the Olympics in 2012. Well, it happened last night. Spice Girls were fantastic last night. I thought they killed it. They looked awesome, sounded great. Will they tour again? We don't know, but at least it was great to see them for one night only. Like I said, will it evolve into another tour? We'll have to wait and see on that one, but probably not. But great to see them again. I saw them, as you saw, I got the Spice Girls shirt. I got this from there. The last time they were together, the reunion tour. Great to see them at that tour, so there you go with that. But NBC got themselves some outrage by cutting the closing ceremonies. ABC's already gotten themselves in hot water, already criticized over their overall coverage of the Olympics being tape delayed. Well, they put the old nail in the coffin by cutting half the closing ceremonies last night at 11 o'clock, just as The Who was about to be played at 11. They decided to cut The Who, Muse, and the Kinks performance, the lead singer of the Kinks performance, to air the new show, Animal Practice. They got a lot of outrage by a lot of people. It was the worst cut-off moment since the infamous Heidi game back in 1958. when the football game was about to end, and they missed the conclusion of the game because they cut to play Heidi. That's what happened last night with the Who getting cut. A lot of people were very mad about that. They did eventually air the Who at midnight, but also cut other things at midnight, including Muse. A lot of fans were like, you cut the official theme of the Olympics, Muse? What the fuck? ABC got themselves a lot of hot water last night for their coverage of the closing ceremony being partial. They indeed put the performances that were cut online. So they're online right now, so you can watch them. The performances that ABC cut. Those little bastards. But overall, closing ceremonies, ball with some interest with ABC. I also heard it was blacked out during the Spice Girls in LA. So that's not but great opening closing ceremonies. It was cool, especially seeing Spice Girls. Now, Spice Girls, of course, performed at the VMAs 15 years ago and won Best New Artist for Best Pop Video. Well, the VMAs, that time again, as I mentioned last week, the nominations were announced with, of course, Rihanna and Drake, 5 nominations, including Video of the Year for both of them, with Rihanna being nominated for Drake's Take Care and her own We Found Love. Well, I didn't address this, but the question was, will there be a host this year? There wasn't a host last year. Kevin Hart kind of acted like in the beginning, but this year, he will be the host. Kevin Hart coming off a huge sellout theater tour, and his upcoming sellout arena tour will be hosting the VMAs on September the 6th in LA. He aired a promo last week involving him and Kanye and Kim Kardashian. So there you go. Kevin's funnier than last year at the VMAs on 8 or 9/6. Little tidbit I forgot to mention. Russell Brand, another former VMA host, he was at the closing ceremonies too last night. Now, on with results from 2 pay-per-views over the weekend that I missed because of gigs and I don't want to pay for it. So first was UFC 150, which took place at the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado, which was headlined by Frankie Edgar versus Vincent Henderson 2 for the UFC Lightweight Championship. It was, of course, marred by a controversial split decision victory for Vincent Henderson. I heard that Frankie had him beat a few times, and many people scored the rounds going towards Frankie victory, but the judges didn't see it that way, and Benson got the win. Many people call him lucky that he got away with the victory after Frankie gave him a big beating, as I heard. Frankie, we don't know what's next for him, but I heard Benson singing on Nate Diaz next. Nate Diaz next. So there you go. Pettis gets screwed again. Also the main card, Closing Ceremonies in a vicious knockdown fight with Melvin Gawon, got a knockout in the first round, giving him the victory. I heard it was a killer knockout. Bringing him knocked out tonight and fired tonight, despite being 76 seconds of the first round. Other fights included Jake Shields defeating Ed Herman in a unanimous decision. Yushin Okami defeating Buddy Roberts in a TKO in the second round. And Max Holloway defeating Justin Lawrence in the second round. Of course, our next UFC pay-per-view will be UFC 151 on September 1st, which will be headlined by another Dan Henderson, taking on John Bones Jones for the light heavyweight championship. Now on with the results of TNA's Hardcore Justice. Well, better than the one they did in 2010, I heard, with the ECW guys. So Hardcore Justice included a lot of change-ups in the Battle for Glory series. Before I get to that, matches included Chavo Guerrero in his first TNA pay-per-view, teaming up with Hernandez to defeat Gunner and with Magnus? No, Kid Cash defeated the tag team. We have a new Women's Knockouts Championship as Ho Hapno once again sided with Madison. You've been seeing like that Earl's been biased towards his crush, Miss Madison Wayne, giving her the Knockouts title last night. Other title matches include Devon keeping the TV title over Kazarian. Austin Aries keeping the TNA World Championship against Bobby Roode, which means Bobby Roode won't get a rematch. But then comes the Battle for Glory series matches, 20 points each in these matches. Rob Van Dam defeated Magnus and Mr. Anderson in a false count anywhere match. AJ Styles defeated Daniel, Samoa Joe, and Kurt Angle in a ladder match. While Bully Ray defeated James Storm, Jeff Hardy, Robbie E., which I heard was a clusterfuck, in the tables match. Which means after last night, the RVD gets himself 20 points. He has 75 points. With that, also Bully Ray got himself 20 points. I think he got 68 points. I think Bully Ray's now in first place with 68. I think RVD's in second. In third with 65. Storm's in second with 66 still. AJ, I think at 56. They don't have a full updated after. They don't have an update on the site after Bound for Glory, so there you go. Now, before I get to my Raw preview tonight, they fired Abraham Washington over the weekend. Now, he was on Raw last week after the whole Kobe thing, but he got fired because of it mostly. And he was also making other comments on Twitter. The WWE is TV PG these days, and they have to be very conservative about what people say. Like sensitive topics like rape cannot be accepted in this TV PG planet. When it was TV 14, rape jokes were the norm. Rape jokes, sex jokes, any jokes that were socially inappropriate was appropriate when it was TV 14. And with rape jokes not being accepted in this TV PG planet, and for this political correctness bullshit, AW got fired because of it. So, sad to see him go, but love to watch him leave. He was a joke on ECW, but was actually a pretty good mouthpiece for the primetime players. Without the mouthpiece, primetime players will be floundered, probably. And they may have a match at SummerSlam. Which leads me to my Raw preview for tonight, the Go Home Show. Last one before SummerSlam. The build-up's been kind of weak. For the 25th anniversary of SummerSlam, you should expect a big build for it. But no, not a big build-up at all for SummerSlam 25. So there you go. And the build-up's so weak, I only can think of 3 questions for my top 5 tonight. So my top 3 questions for Raw that must be answered tonight. Question number 3. What will go down between Triple H, HBK, and Brock Lesnar? Now, last week, Shawn Michaels revealed he will be in Triple H's corner at SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar. And Lesnar said to HBK last week, I'll see you before SummerSlam. I heard there may be some sort of altercation between Lesnar and HBK, which could take place tonight. And Triple H may be involved too. So see what that comes about tonight on Raw. Question number 2. Will anything else be added for SummerSlam? Now, as of this video, we know the WWE Championship will be a triple threat match. John Cena taking on The Big Show and CM Punk. And now, somewhat official now, Sheamus will be defending the World Championship against Buttel Del Rio. Also, it was made official this past week on SmackDown that Chris Jericho will be taking on Dolph Ziggler. I knew that match was coming. The build-up should be a great match for SummerSlam. Also, Kane against Daniel Bryan, which could see a possible interference from Charlie Sheen. And also, we could possibly have a tag team title match, a triple threat, which may be announced tonight. Primetime players, Sans AW, may take on R-Truth and Kofi, and also Primo and Epico, without their mouthpiece, Rosa, who's stuck in jail. As I know of, she may be released, who knows. So that could be a match we added. We'll see if any of those matches get added tonight. Question number 1. What will go down between CM Punk and Big Show, and will Cena get involved? Well, as we found out earlier today, CM Punk and the Big Show will kick off Raw tonight with their match this Sunday, where one of these men get momentum. Big Show knocked out both Punk and Cena at the end of last week's Raw. Punk wants retaliation, but I think Cena may get involved too. See what happens tonight on Raw at 8/7 Central on USA Network. That is it for my Atakline. Little long today. See you all later tonight. Bye-bye Raw review. Stand by. You've been attacked by the news from Zach. Thank you very much. See you later. Yeah.